May I start, Maharaj?
Yeah, Amala Purana. We have Amala Purana here who's willing to lead kirtan.
Oh, please,
Not the
yes.
famous Amala Purana, but Amala Purana nonetheless.
Jai. That will be free.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Nishvesa Srimadi Prachari Prabhu Jayadvaita Swami Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Jai Gaura Hari Bo.
Jai Om Vishnu Bhad Puramuta Paripraja Kacharya Stotra Sri Shaman AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundgiri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Jai Maharaj.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
to Amala Purana, who is
Yes.
in the Kirtan, and welcome everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Today is Monday, May 22nd, 2023, and we are reading in the third canto, chapter 19, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. We take it up again with text number 5. And as always, we're looking forward to hearing everyone's comments and questions, so please use the raise hand feature or unmute yourself and speak when Maharaj asks for questions, or you can type your comments into the chat window. However, we ask that you not send any chat messages as Maharaj is reading in the chat box because it makes it more difficult to read. And at the end of class, I'll post some links so you can share with your friends so that they can attend as well. And we'll see who leads the closing kirtan tonight. Maharaj, we're so glad that you could join us. And where are you today?
Where am I? At Parsippany, New Jersey.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 19, text 5. Kadayam apavidtayam ahakare vinirgate manayam asatad dharmam sunabham chasmadad vibuhu. As the Lord's mace fell to the ground, and a cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis, the personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness, and therefore invoked his Sudarshan discus. Om Jnana Timidantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Buddhave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Trayam Rupakada Mayam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam. I think we need some air. Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada doesn't comment here, but I'll read a portion of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Because Hiranyaksha was actually an associate of the Lord, and thus equal to the Lord, they had equal strength. Thus it was possible for the club to fall from the hand of the Lord. Without equal strength, there'd be no pleasure in fighting. Thus, this action increased the enthusiasm of the Lord to fight. It is thus an ornament of the Lord, not a fault, since the Lord, filled with love for his devotee, many times accepts defeat at the hands of the devotee. This is indicated in the next verse, which explains that the Lord recognized his devotee. The Lord remembered his chakra, and previous to that, he remembered his club. That is indicated by the word cha. So there's greater enthusiasm in fighting because the Lord is taking the role of being on an equal level as with the demons. So they're a matched pair of adversaries. And there's something good in everyone, even here in Yaksha. It's described here as having a love of righteousness. What is that in the Sanskrit? Maniyam asatad dharma, appreciating that the demon was following the laws of dharma. Something good in everyone. Anything else about that? And then we have a question left from last time from Saraswati. We'll come to that. Oh, yes, Anantashay says, how can anyone be equal to Krishna? By Krishna's mercy. Krishna assigns you can be greater. That Yashoda Mai took a position of being greater than Krishna, what to speak of being equal. Well, these things are possible by the mercy of the Lord. Anything else? So we come to Saraswati from Friday. One person was saying that the Pandavas were punished by the laws of nature for breaking rules in war. But this doesn't make sense because they were following Krishna's direction. For example, Yudhisthira lied about Ashwatthama dying, but he concealed that it was an elephant by that name that had died. And Bhima killed Duryodhana also by apparently unfair means. So all of these things, of course, one person was saying, one person can say whatever he wants. That's what people do. They say whatever they want. But who are they? Little tiny insects. We have to understand the Shastras from the self-realized persons, not from the speculations of persons who are antagonistic to the Shastras or antagonistic to the devotees. A Vaishnava guru nasyat. One can't be a proper teacher if one is not a devotee of the Lord. These things are kept secret from them. Sometimes it's said that until Yudhisthira lied, his chariot never touched the ground. But after he gave that lie to Dronacharya, after that his chariot touched the ground. But Prabhupada gave a different understanding, that up until that time his chariot didn't touch the ground, but because he hesitated to carry out the order of Krishna. After that, his chariot touched the ground. So we prefer to follow Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, that someone said. If one carries out, if one is in, what's the word? If one is properly connected with the absolute truth, then whatever he does stands on the platform of truth. And if one is not connected, then whatever he does is useless. Arava bhaktasya kuto mahaguna manoritena sati davato bihi. I hope that's all right. Okay. Tam vyagra chakram titiputra tam vyagra chakram titiputra tamena saparshada mukhena sajjamanam chitra vachotad vidam ke charanam patras masam swastite jahiti. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands, and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who'd been born as Hiranyaksha, a vile son of Diti, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you. Please, pray dispatch him. Play no more with him." Chitra vacha. Chitra means, it's translated here as strange, but the word for word probably gives various. Chitra means various. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the Lord had in his hand the chakra, which was eager. It arrived in a hurry, Vyagra. Oh, the Lord is remembering me. Okay, any comments or questions? Satam nisham yata ritangamagrato vyavastitam padma palashalochanam vilokya chamarsha pariplutendriyo Rushasvadanta chadam adasachvasan. When the demons saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshan discus, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment. We see this sometimes in persons of a demonic mentality. They make sounds like demons, like snakes. Karala dangstrash chakshurbyam sanchakshano dahaniva abhi plutya svagadaya atosi jahanad tarim. The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain." Here again we find Karala Dangstra, fearful teeth or fearful tusks, in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Samstra Karalani Yamakani. Same thing, fearful teeth. Tada savyena tam sadho Bhagavan Yagyashukaraha Lilaya Mishata Shatro Praharad Vataranghasam. O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord in his boar form, the enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of a tempest. To deal with your fierce club is the business of my left foot. Ahacha yudhamadatsva katashva tvam jigishasi ityukta sa tada bhuyas tadayan janadad visham. The Lord then said, "Take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me." Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more roared loudly. So it's an insult. Come on, pick up your weapon and let's see what you can do. Tam sa'a patatim viksha Bhagavan samavastitaha shagraha ilaya praptam garutman ivapannakim. When the Lord saw the mace flying toward him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent. Swaparushe pratihate atamano mahasudaha naichad gadam diyamanam harina vigata prabhaha. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. Again, it was an insult, so naturally. Yes, Tulsi Priya.
Oh, Maharaj, this is probably silly, but I remember as a child seeing like old movies where, they would show people sword fighting. Usually it was like Errol Flynn or something like that, who was a bit of a, devil may care personality. And the enemy would drop his sword and he'd pick it up and toss it jauntily back to him. And so I imagine the playfulness of Varahadev's attitude towards Hiranyaksha, of which Errol Flynn is a very, very, very faint shadow, if at all a shadow.
Yeah, these swashbuckling movies and so on are just dim reflections of the pastimes of Krishna, his adventures and his various incarnations. Errol Flynn has had to change to another body, and Krishna never has to.
Maharaj, is it wrong to think, when I think back on that and you see the attractive, what is considered the attractive quality of the role of the character that he was playing, somebody who's very expert and who's also kind of, devil may care and very jovial while he's in the middle of a battle to the death. Is it wrong to think that is a kind of reflection that what makes it attractive is that it exists originally in Krishna?
Yeah, what is that? Yad no. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitameva va tattadeva vgachcha tvam mamatejam sasambhava, in the 10th chapter. Whenever we see something special, something with power, vibhuti mat sattvam, whether it's beauty or force, it's just born from a small spark of Krishna's energy. In that 10th chapter, everything is meant to remind us of Krishna because everything represents a tiny spark of his energy.
Thank you.
Now, Kendra, I thought it interesting that the Lord manifested Sudarshan here, but didn't employ it as he usually does. Aside from that, a less demonic entity might feel something other than indignant and resentful when confronted by a boar large enough to lift a planet, posed to strike with a spinning razor-edged wheel. Yeah, anyone. Yeah, therefore it's interesting that the demon is said to be equal to the Lord. The Lord empowered, as it were, his fallen servant to attack with full force and not to run away as a sensible person might have, or a coward might have. He just became more stoked up to fight, so that the Lord could enjoy that. Okay. Sagraha Trishakam Shulam Jwalanalolupam Yagyaya Dhritarupaya Vipraya Pichadanyata. He now took a trident as rapacious as a flaming fire and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against a holy Brahmin. The example is telling. This is misuse of power. Power is good when used for a proper purpose, but we saw from the life of Hiranyakashipu and here also that when power is misused, then or that we see that power may be misused. And here the example is there that one may undergo austerity just for the purpose of using it against the Brahmin. Yes. Misuse of power. What is that? In the Bhagavad Gita, that's austerity in the mode of ignorance. Is there a Bhagavad Gita here? I left my book upstairs.
Yes, I have. Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita. I don't have my little book. We'll have to look it up. It'll be real hard. Let's try. We'll try.
You want iPad?
Excuse me. Someone can help me out. Austerity in the mode of ignorance involves trying to harm others. Let's see. Almost there. Yeah. Psalm 17:19. Mudha grahin atmano yat pidaya kriyate tapaha padasyot sadhanartam va tatam samudaritam. This is austerity in the mode of ignorance. It's performed with foolishness, foolish endeavor. Atmana yat pidaya kriyate, with self-torture. And Parasya Utsadana Artam, performed with the intention of harming others. One undergoes austerity for the sake of harming others. There are people who do that. I'm trying to think if there's a Shastric example. Of course, there was Prakasura, who underwent austerity so that he could get the benediction that someone's head would fall off. Or there are the modern scientists who burn the midnight oil looking for some improved way to destroy people or torture people. So this is austerity, but it's austerity in the mode of ignorance. It's performed for the sake of harming others. Otherwise, austerity in the mode of goodness is performed for the benefit of others. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Tadojasa daicha maha patarpitam shakasadanta ka udirna ditihi chakrena chichcheda nishuta nemina harir yata tarkshapatatram ujhitam. Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. Personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshan, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda. Purport. Context of the reference given herein regarding Garuda and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother, Vinata, from the clutches of his stepmother, Kadru, the mother of the serpents. On learning of this, Indra, the king of heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garuda. With a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon, Garuda, though otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by the thunderbolt. The inhabitants of higher planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulations of gentleness. In this case, Garuda wanted to show respect for Indra, since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something. He offered his wing. Okay. Tattva says, I like the appearance of the Sudarshan chakra in the Lord's pastimes. It is referred to elsewhere as Hari Chakra, the wheel of time, and it means for the demons, your time is up. Yeah, these are the Lord's items of paraphernalia: his disc, his club, his lotus, his conch shell. These become impetuses for ecstatic love of Krishna. Indraduna Maharaj at the moment is doing a series of podcasts, I guess you're calling, on udipanas, things that serve as stimuli for remembering Krishna and becoming more Krishna conscious. Of course, in Vrindavan, it's things like Krishna's flute, his peacock feather, and so on. But in other incarnations, it may be his club, his Sudarshan chakra, and so on. So the paraphernalia of the Lord give rise to pleasure for the devotees, because they remind the devotees of Krishna. Or Krishna is always present with his paraphernalia. He's not lacking. Yes, Supriya.
Maharaj, I was looking at the word sensible, and I was wondering if Prabhupada is using it in the other sense that I'm aware of, having been a Jane Austen fan, because we usually use the word sensible nowadays to mean somebody who's, intelligent or has some common sense, has some sense. And I was looking, Jane Austen in that old time uses it very differently, and I looked it up in an older dictionary, and it has different meanings. I was wondering if you thought he was using it in the older sense of the word.
Yes, in the sense of sensibilities. Let's see if since you looked in the dictionary, I'll look in the dictionary. Emotionally aware and responsive. You are sensible of your problems. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Capable of feeling and perceiving with the sense of sort of empathy. Yeah.
Maybe more like what we use as sensitive.
Yeah, sensitive, liable to be quickly or completely affected, sensitive to of, but capable, having sensibility, capable of delicate or tender feeling. 1675, a person of a tender, sensible, and compassionate nature. Preserve your conscience, always soft and sensible. All those gentle sensations which are consistent with a virtuous and elevated female mind. Yeah, so sensible. Yeah, so I think Prabhupada is using it that way. And we won't dwell further on dictionary kata. Anything else? Okay. Rikne Svashule Bahudharina Hare Pratyetya Vistirnam Uro Vibhutimat Pravrinta Rosha Sakatora Mushtina Nadan Prahityantara Tiyata Asuraha. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord and roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa. Then he went out of sight. Antartiyata, he disappeared. Purport: Srivats is a curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord, which is a special sign of his being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vaikuntha Loka, or in Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants are exactly of the same form as the personality of Godhead. But by this Srivas mark on the chest of the Lord, he is distinguished from all others. The demon saw that he wasn't going to win, so now he starts using mystic powers. Tene tam ahatak shattar Bhagavan adisu karaha nakampata manak kwapi sraja hataiva dvipaha. Aid in this matter by the demon Ovidura, the Lord, who had appeared as the first boar, did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body, any more than an elephant would when struck with a wreath of flowers. Purport: as previously explained, the demon was originally a servitor of the Lord in Vaikuntha. Somehow or other, he fell as a demon. His fight with the Supreme Lord was meant for his liberation. The Lord enjoyed the striking on his transcendental body, just like a fully grown-up father fighting with his child. Sometimes a father takes pleasure in having a mock fight with his small child, and similarly, the Lord felt Hiranyaksha's striking on his body to be like flowers offered for worship. In other words, the Lord desired to fight in order to enjoy his transcendental bliss. Therefore, he enjoyed the attack. Tato rudha srijanmayam yogamaye shradeharav yam vilokya prajas drashta meni resyo pasang yamam. The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yogamaya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand, was near. Purport: the fighting enjoyment of the Supreme Lord with his devotee, who had been converted into a demon, appeared severe enough to bring about the dissolution of the universe. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the wavering of his little finger appears to be a great and very dangerous movement in the eyes of the inhabitants of the universe. Any comments? Avavur Vayavas Chandas Tama Pamsavam Ayrayan Digyo Nipetur Gravana Shepanai Prahita Iva. Fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner, as if thrown by machine guns. Shapana is a weapon that Chakravarti Thakur says dispersion weapon. Prabhupada translates it machine gun. Another instance of Prabhupada's presenting things in understandable terms. The demons do this. They resort to tricks to try to bewilder people, to bewilder their enemies, or to bewilder anyone. They use tricky means. So here there was no cause of fear, but the demon began to cook up all this mystic stuff to create an apparently fearful situation. And this is demonic. Any other comments? Yarnashta Pagana Prabhai Savidyud Stanayit Nubihi Varshadpi Puya Shrig Vin Mutrastini Jasakrit. Luminaries in outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with masses of clouds, which were accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky rained pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. We find this also when Dhruva Maharaj was fighting against the Yakshas, who were also possessed of magical powers. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says that from the description, it's understood that the Lord, absorbed in the pleasure of fighting, went beyond the auspicious time indicated by Brahma. Brahma had said, hey, this is Abhijit, the auspicious time. Please kill this demon before the auspicious time is over and he becomes more powerful. But the Lord was enjoying, so he stuck with it. We find in a more happy and playful context, well, this was happy too, but a more playful context, that Krishna would be playing with his cowherd friends and he wouldn't want to stop. Mother Yashoda, Rohini would call Krishna, but Krishna was having a good time. He didn't want to come back. Then, and his friends said that if you leave now, just when the playing is getting good, we'll never play with you again. So then Krishna was reluctant to leave. But then Yashoda Mai came. Krishna, you think you're a street boy? Nanda Maharaj can't take his meals until you come back. So please come back. And Krishna came back. So in both cases, Krishna was enjoying, and so he went past the expected time. Yes, Susupi.
Maharaj, there's a comment in the chat box just above text 19.
Yeah, I always find it funny, Akendra says, when I hear the extreme example of the Lord feeling the force of some demons attack like a garland of flowers. Yeah, it is funny. It's a joke. The demon is throwing his full power at the Lord, and the Lord feels it to be like a garland of flowers or similar examples are used. So yeah, it belittles the best attempts of the demons.
Maharaj,
Yes,
comment or question from Prabeen in the chat box?
there it is. For the pleasure of the Lord, the two associates became demons, but along with the pleasure of the Lord, the demons harassed many living entities. Was this also a plan of the Lord's, apart from enjoying the fight? Yeah, these things are Krishna's arrangement with Kamsa also, and with Hiranyakashipu. The demons created so much trouble. But this was superficial difficulties or superficial trouble created by the Lord's yoga mind. Okay. Something else? We will do one more. Iriya pratyadrishyanta nana yutta uchonaka digvasaso yatutanya shulinyo mukta murtajaha. O sinless Vidura, mountains discharged weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses armed with tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. Bahubhir yakshopi patyashva ratakunjaraihe atayabhir atayayibhir utsrishta ingsha vacho tivai shasaha. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of ruffian yakshas and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or tridents, or chariots. Okay, I think we can stop here unless there are any other questions or comments. And I wonder who would like to lead our closing kirtan.
Maharaj, Maharaj,
Yes.
maybe we can save this question for next time, but I was just wondering, where are they marching?
Where are they marching?
Yes, if the earth is, on what are they marching?
Well, on foot. That's what it says. It's just a more of a fearsome show. Now we've got pus falling from the sky. We've got yakshas and rakshas up and about and marching. We have all these fearsome signs. Otherwise, it's not indicated they were marching to a particular place. Okay, shall we finish up again? Who would like to lead kirtan?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om.
I always provide for the merciful God to charge us those institutions. AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Yam Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Gun Radha Kuni Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you to the participating devotees and to everyone online for joining us tonight. Please share those class links with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you all again on Wednesday for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Haribol, Haribol.